There's that Winston Churchill quote that goes around every so often on the socials where he's like, never, never, ever, never, ever, never, ever, ever, never, ever give up. And it's meant to be some inspirational, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, don't let life get you down type of bumper sticker motto. But yeah, it's also like, dude, Winsty, you were a fat racist alcoholic. um, and you also came from a different era. I'm not era judging you. I'm not era shaming you, Winsty. I don't give a shit that you were fat racist or alcoholic, to be honest. But I'm more questioning the validity of your message because I wonder how many people have pursued things for far too long because they read that quote and thought, yeah, man, that applies to me. That applies to the path that I've chosen in life. And if I just keep, uh, you know, cracking away at my passion, then things are going to work out great. The other day, I was looking for a hard drive, and I found the external hard drive, and I plugged it in to see if it would still work. And you know, when you find files and photos from years gone by of your life, parts of your life you thought were over, they weren't necessarily traumatic or the opposite. They weren't like, super positive or joyous. They're just parts of your life where you'd forgotten, irrelevant, erroneous parts of your life. And yeah, I found, as I was just briefly clicking through that external hard drive, I found this old self-taped audition I did years ago in New York when I was half-heartedly pursuing acting. And it was funny because I was like, holy shit, I was like 10 years younger. I looked like just a little boy. And I couldn't even stomach listening to the audio. Just caught a quick glimpse of the video. And it was like, wow, I've been fucking plugging away at this for fucking years. And it's all been unpaid, baby. It's been unpaid. Um, but yet I'm still doing creative stuff despite the lack of despite the lack of external validation. And essentially I realized it's because it's become a compulsion. Quotes like the Winsty one and other um, you can fucking do this mantras, they all are kind of catalysts for people of a certain mindset to uh transition their hobbies or passions into compulsions where you don't feel complete if you don't do them. And it kind of doesn't really matter to a certain degree, differs for each person about like what's happening around you in your life. You feel like no matter what, you have to get certain things done. And yeah, it's just an interesting thing that occurs with all of us. I feel like for me, it's kind of like a idle hands are the devil's tool type of thing where it allows me some peace of mind if I can occupy myself with some creative matters. I'm at least not fucking down the pub with Barry and Roger slamming down pints of fucking Stella. Just doing something retarded with my time. I feel like this is perhaps not productive, but it's somewhat, believe it or not, meditative and gives you a break from the regularness of life tone. Yeah, so maybe that's why I do it. But the weird thing is that you can't help but feel a strange waiting around type of sensation where you're just waiting for someone to anoint you. I guess in the past and to this day, if you're a connected person, you're kind of like waiting, you create something and then you're just kind of waiting around for your connected people, your connections to hook you up. to give you the opportunity on the new hit NBC sitcom, or I don't know, your hookup at Instagram to give you 200,000 followers. But I feel like those who aren't connected, put myself in that category. You're really waiting for the algorithm to anoint you. this kind of nebulous, ever changing thing where it's like, when will my stuff be good enough to be put in front of all the people who would like my stuff? And yeah, you know, it's like you go on YouTube and you discover these amazing musical artists who've been slogging away for 15 years, and you're only now just kind of hearing about them, or you know, they slip under your radar somehow, which is mind-boggling considering yeah, just the interconnected nature of the internet. And if you like a certain type of music or a certain type of musical group, you tend to kind of like find out who their buddies are pretty quickly. But even still, things slip through the cracks. But I don't know. Maybe that's just kind of like this kind of like false hope you hold out. You're like, I'm a diamond in the rough. Maybe eventually someone will find me. There's also the complete head fuck of where you're like, am I just creating stuff that is incredibly niche, and I have found all my people, and this is as big as it's ever going to get, and so just be happy with your weird little hobby in public thing that you've got going on? Or is it a case of like, yeah, you're just not willing to bend over and reverse engineer your content a little bit better so that algorithm can take it and run with it? Like, I saw some thread on Twitter the other day where some geezer was like, yeah, Instagram rewards new accounts. So he essentially was doing the same type of shit. I don't know what type of videos or whatever he was creating, but his tip was like basically just like start a new account. He was creating the same type of content, but just kept trying until like the right handle and timing worked out. And then yeah, it snowballed from there and he had a big account. So there's all that head fuck of it where you're like, yeah, could I just work on the actual art, or should I be working on like to how to market myself to people, which is fucking, even just saying it makes me feel sick and exhausted. But I guess some people can do both and pretty well. And then other people should just fucking quit. You see them from afar. Sometimes you think of it yourself. I didn't really want to be an actor. I was just killing time. I look back at those days and think, wasn't the worst use of my time, but it also wasn't the best necessarily. And I was just plodding along, waiting for life to make the decision for me. And then I guess the other option is that you can take your compulsion and do it in private as well. Because there's the whole thing of like people saying that, you know, what I would do this, you know, but that when you've been slogging away for years and years and you don't have an audience, you're not earning any revenue, you kind of like, there's no traction, I guess would be the buzzword. Then it's kind of like, okay, no one's stopping you from doing this, but like, wouldn't it simplify your life if you just like did it on your own time, and then you didn't have to worry about chasing an audience? Wouldn't that free you up to like, you're not having to spend any time whatsoever to put it on the internet and occasion and risking your reputation and your and someone fucking doxing you for a random reason, for, you know, pitiful response? Why not do it in private? It's an interesting question. I feel like that seems like it's kind of like a, if it falls in the forest, did it ever fall type of question. But I am constantly questioning myself, is like, what's the, because this question, do you know someone who should have given up years ago? It's very much directed at myself. And really, I think it's an important question for everyone to ask, because it means you can kind of continue to tweak what you do, not to search for fame or fucking fortune or whatever. It's more just a case of like, am I enjoying this anymore? Is there any value in me spending the time and effort and doing this? And if the answer is no, then you can kind of like, you don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. You can kind of like move on to something else that perhaps is more new and exciting, something you haven't tried before that may be a better fit for what you're doing. So I think that that's an important note here, is that if you feel like you're a failure and you're not getting any traction whatsoever, doesn't mean you have to stop doing it at all. You could do it in private, like I mentioned before, or you could kind of you could do something slightly different that's going to be a bit better for you and maybe the audience. What the fuck am I talking about? This is very much a note to self in public. Will I regret this in years to come? Will I find this on an external cloud drive in about 10 years? Perhaps. Thanks for listening. Catch you on the next one. Bye.